I'm just gonna continue my trek up the mountain here and enjoy the beautiful stars. Hello and welcome to SquatchSpot. I'm Darren Smith, and I hope that all of you out there are doing okay and that you and your loved ones are well. Definitely some challenging times we are all going through at the moment, and my heart absolutely goes out to all of my friends and the people of the Ukraine who are definitely going through some very difficult times at the moment. And while working on board the cruise line, I have made a number of friends from around the world, and I do know a lot of people that are from the Ukraine. And I have been to Ukraine a number of times, and I have to say that it's an absolute beautiful country, and the people there have always treated me with warmth and hospitality. So my heart absolutely goes out to the people of the Ukraine who are definitely in need of prayers. But also here at home and around the world, there are many of us that are being faced with some significant economic situations as a result of the global events that are taking place right now. So I absolutely understand that there are many of you out there that are really being faced with some extraordinary challenges at the moment. And for me, I have just said that I had to put aside the news and the social media, and I am just getting out into the outdoors here, and I am going to hike up into an area where we have investigated previously. It is an area that has had significant Sasquatch activity over the years, and it is in a strategic location. The only reason that I don't spend too much time of my investigation up in this area is it's a very remote location. It requires a significant hike in and, of course, a significant hike out to reach the kind of areas of interest that we'd be focusing on. However, today, as I mentioned, I just had to put the news aside and the social media, and I just need to get out into nature. It's a beautiful day, and I'm getting out just to kind of regroup and to calm my nerves and kind of get back to a sense of peace and tranquility. And I definitely encourage you, all of you out there who are really caught up with the global events at the moment, to try to take a time out and just give yourself a little time to kind of get back to some sort of sense of tranquility and peace within yourself, because definitely if you get caught up with the news and information sources at the moment, there are just a lot of atrocities that are happening around the world that are that definitely creates a lot of stress and anxiety within all of us. So I definitely encourage you, all of you, to take a break and to try to get out in nature, because we are pulling into spring, and in my area at least, we do have some flowers that are in bloom. So I'm hoping to be enjoying those today as we head up into the mountains here to see if we can find any sort of physical evidence that the Sasquatch are moving through this area. And there is a good possibility that they are. The area we have come to investigate is a ridge on the Chowchilla mountain range, which runs along the southwest border of Yosemite National Park. This ridge has had numerous reported Sasquatch sightings over the years. In fact, there were so many reported sightings in this area, local law enforcement shut down access to the mountain, and the U.S. military showed up and were supposedly running training exercises in this area for nearly a week. There are also a number of unsolved missing person cases in this area, a number of which were featured on Missing 411. And it is also along this ridge where a family of 3 perished while out on a day hike with their dog in August of 2021. The cause of death to the family was ruled as hypothermia. The cause of death to the dog was undetermined. Though this ridge sustained significant damage as a result of the Ferguson fire of 2018, With a multitude of reported activity in this area, I have investigated this ridge a number of times previously. However, I have yet to find any physical evidence that the Sasquatch are actively using this area. However, I do believe this ridge is strategic when noting Sasquatch migratory movement patterns in the area, and although it is difficult to access this ridge, based on my investigations, I do feel it is important we monitor this area. So I mentioned this numerous times previously. I really do appreciate all the support that I get from all of you that are engaged with my channel. And I've said it over and over again that I think together we do have a much better chance of solving this mystery. And I think that all of you out there do realize the pivotal role that all of you play throughout our investigation, because it has happened on a number of occasions now that you have seen something on the video footage that I have shared on YouTube, or you have heard something on the video that I have overlooked, and you have brought these things to my attention, and we have conducted an investigation that has both was able to debunk a situation and also add a lot of credibility to a situation that we may have encountered Sasquatch. And so all of you out there absolutely play a pivotal role in this investigation. And I also am very thankful to the fact that for the most part, the trolls have left me alone. However, from time to time, somebody will chime in with a very passionate viewpoint, and I do think opposing viewpoints are absolutely necessary for us to move our investigation forward. However, there are ways that one can communicate their passions in a more perhaps diplomatic way. However, there is one that I do want to address here, and that is some backlash that I got in regards to the equipment failures that I have shared on my recent videos here, where I am out in the field and I experience some unexplainable equipment malfunctions, and especially when regarding the FLIR unit. The previous video I'd mentioned numerous occasions when the FLIR had gone out on me. Now, I tried to communicate it in the previous videos, and I don't think I was very effective at doing so. However, the mentions that I did share where the FLIR unit had malfunctions are very rare occurrences. It doesn't happen often. In fact, I am using that unit frequently throughout my investigations, and it's very rare that I have had any sort of technical difficulties with the unit. And the mention times where the unit had cut out on me, or I had received some sort of unusual interference with that unit, were definitely very rare occasions, and there were also in occasions where we had very strong evidence that the Sasquatch were in the area. And on my March 3rd, 2020 encounter, we found hair samples, we had photographic evidence, we had the audio evidence, we had very solid concrete evidence that the Sasquatch were present during that encounter, and we experienced significant electronic failure. And it wasn't even the FLIR unit that went out on that occasion. It was other audio recording equipment and also video equipment. So these equipment failures that I am mentioning, even the ones with the FLIR, they are happening in situations where there is strong evidence to support that there were Sasquatch in the area. These are not just random happenings, in my opinion. And when people are saying I need to get new equipment, I absolutely acknowledge that the most probable cause for that sort of technology failure would be equipment that is perhaps faulty. However, these situations were out of the norm, and I do strongly support that there is a possibility that the Sasquatch is able to somehow interfere with our electronics. Now, I know this is not a popular opinion out there. In fact, I've told you numerous times before when I first started my investigation into the Sasquatch phenomenon, I was looking for an offshoot of Gigantopithecus. I was looking for an unidentified ape species or a relic hominid, and that's what I was searching for. However, throughout our investigation, time and time again, we encounter very unusual situations when the Sasquatch are thought to be in the area, and noted the equipment failure is a common anomaly that occurs when we believe the Sasquatch are in the area, and I really am having a hard time believing that this is coincidental. We also see these unusual balls of light moving through the environment. I have no understanding how balls of light could be associated with an ape species or a relic hominid, but we can't overlook these happenings that we are having out in the field. So I get it. There are a large majority of the individuals in the Sasquatch community, I was absolutely one of them, who do not like to embrace the unexplained phenomenon that we are experiencing. However, I really think researching this phenomenon and engaging and in conducting this research, we can't go in here with a closed mind, because it does appear, based on my experiences out in the field conducting research, while on numerous Bigfoot expeditions across the United States where unusual technology failures occurred, when we absolutely believe the Sasquatch were in close proximity to us, I really cannot support that this is random happening now. It has absolutely gotten to the point now where we absolutely have to consider the possibilities here and the impossibilities here, because I really do think there is something extraordinary happening here, and I know it is not a popular opinion among Sasquatch research, and there's a lot of things within the Bigfoot phenomenon that I don't agree with, that people are coming out with their ideas and their theories, and I am very passionate that I am not supportive, or I do not have a belief in these various mindsets. But I think it's really important as researchers we keep an open mind, we continue to investigate the phenomenon, and we continue to share our research and our findings, regardless of how outlandish it may be. Now, I do know there are Sasquatch researchers out there, actually A-listers, who are withholding information. They are changing the narrative of various investigation incidents that they have encountered or have come across, especially when it comes to like a encounter report that somebody is submitting. There are individuals out there who will edit the reports to make them support that particular individual's narrative, the narrative that they want to be presenting out there. I don't know why they're doing this. It doesn't make sense to me that they wouldn't share everything that they are coming up with, but there are A-listers out there who edit the reports that they receive, who change the narrative to support their personal opinions. And I don't think this is the best approach when conducting Sasquatch research. I really think that we just have to get out there and investigate the best we can. We have to talk to the witnesses that have had encounters, and we have to share the information from the individuals the information we are receiving from individuals, and also for the unusual happenings that we are experiencing, because I really do think by doing so, it is going to paint a much larger picture, and it is definitely going to help us to kind of put the pieces together and hopefully move our investigation forward. So I know that some of this stuff is not supported by a lot of you out there, and I do really appreciate you guys sharing your opinions, but also supporting me in this process because we're all in this together. We are all conducting this investigation together. As I mentioned, you guys are absolutely a pivotal part of this investigation. And there are areas where I'm absolutely wrong. And you come forward and you share your opinions, and I am open to other interpretations. However, another point to take, I am actually the one that is out in the field. I am the one experiencing what it is that I am sharing with you guys. So there are some nuances with being in the environment that gives me a little different perspective on things. However, I do absolutely appreciate all of you who share your opinions and who come forward with your own ideas, because I think it's this sort of dialogue that's really going to help us to come up with some answers. However, if we are researchers that are placing the Sasquatch in a box and we are very inflexible with our mindset when it comes to what the Sasquatch are, what this phenomenon means, I really think that those individuals are just going to hinder this investigation because they are not open to other ideas. They're not open to other possibilities. They're very closed-minded with what they believe the Sasquatch are, and they're very closed-minded in what evidence is being presented. And oftentimes they are dismissing stuff, and as I mentioned, they are absolutely editing out pivotal pieces that I believe are intricate, are really an important part of this investigation. So absolutely bear with me. I am going to continue to get out in the field. I am going to continue to share my findings regardless of how outlandish it may be. And together, hopefully, we can come up with some answers. For those of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, you probably saw the community post I put up advertising a podcast I was featured on. I was absolutely thrilled to be asked to be on this show, and I really do believe it is this sort of collaboration within the Bigfoot community that is really going to move this investigation forward. And I really enjoyed talking with Tracy. She had some very interesting insights into the Sasquatch mystery, as well as many other topics, and she's given me quite a bit to think about. If you have not heard the interview yet, I would really appreciate you check it out and toss them a like. I will add a link here and also at the end of the video, as well as in the description below. I very much appreciated the opportunity to be on a podcast, and I am hopeful that invitation was an indication that we are creating some interest within the Bigfoot research community, and that our efforts are being noticed. I don't know if you could see behind me all the dead trees there, but I have mentioned this on numerous videos previously, the environmental crisis that we are experiencing here in California as a result of the drought conditions that we have been experiencing for many years. Unfortunately, this particular tree required a lot of water to produce sap that prevented this particular beetle from getting into the tree and killing the tree. So unfortunately, in these drought conditions, the trees were unable to produce sap. The beetles got into the tree and killed them, and as a result, tens of millions of trees along the California Sierra Nevada mountains have perished. And you can see the amount of vegetation, dead vegetation that we have in the forest with all the dead trees on the ground there. This creates an incredible amount of fire fuel. So if we do have forest fires in the area, they become super infernos because of the dead vegetation and all this dead wood laying in the forest. Historically in California, prior to these drought conditions, a large fire in the area was roughly 10,000 acres, but now with all this debris and dead vegetation. We have fires getting up to 150,000 acres and even 350,000 acres, which is an incredible amount of forested habitat that is being decimated by these super infernos that are burning through California. So it really is a disheartening situation that we have happening here in California, and there are agencies that are trying to get in here and to try to remove a lot of the vegetation, the dead trees that are out around forested communities, but it's not likely they will get up into these very remote backcountry locations to kind of get this vegetation out of here. So it really is a disheartening situation. So I was hoping to get up onto the summit up here and get up on that ridge up above there. Unfortunately, I got kind of a late start today, and there was some areas that I was definitely investigating that took more time than I kind of anticipated. So I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to get all the way up onto that ridge there, because already it's getting fairly late, and you see probably from the background here that the sun is starting its descent, and at this point it is very likely I will be hiking in the dark to get back to where my vehicle is located, and I don't want to particularly spend too much time tromping around through this environment at night. I didn't really bring a lot of gear with me today because I was anticipating this was going to be a day hike, but at this point I am thinking that I am going to have to start making my trek back off this mountain, but I am interested in getting up here a little further and maybe continuing a little more of our investigation of this area. But at this point it is really nearing that time when I should be starting to head back. I continued my investigation of this area for a bit longer than I should have, and as a result, I ended up having to trek in total darkness for a number of miles as I headed off the mountain. And although I did not find any definitive evidence the Sasquatch were moving through this area, my day was not a complete loss. The time spent in nature was a welcome distraction, and I also received 2 reports from an area local who is an avid outdoorsman. He told me of a trackway he discovered in this area, which he believes may have been left by a Sasquatch, and he also relayed a sighting report his uncle had on this same ridge. Taking the history of this area and the multitude of eyewitness reports being filed from this area, I do feel this is an area we need to closely monitor. I do believe this ridge is a major thoroughfare for the Sasquatch as they make their seasonal migrations, and there is also a lot of discussion the Sasquatch may actually be living in the abandoned mines dotted along this mountain range. Regardless, it is an area of interest we will be visiting again soon, and until next time, I'm Darren Smith, and I'll see you here at SquatchSpot.